The colony on the edge of human space was quiet at night. The storms outside the protective walls made a sound like drums, and the wind swept across the barren land with endless strength. Inside the outpost, lights glowed weakly, powered by small reactors that never slept. Most people were asleep, their rooms silent except for the hum of machinery. Aaron was awake. He often stayed up late, unable to rest easily. His job as a soldier at the outpost was simple but heavy with responsibility. He had to guard the border, watch the skies, and make sure no threat approached the colony. The elders of the colony often said that nothing ever happened here, but Aaron did not believe them. Nothing lasted forever. He sat on his bed in his small room. The walls were metal, plain and cold. A single screen was fixed to the wall showing him outside readings, temperature, wind speed, and energy levels of the storm. A small table carried his notebook where he wrote simple reports, and beside it lay his old rifle. The weapon was polished, its surface shining faintly in the dim light. Aaron believed a soldier's rifle should always be ready, even if no battle came. He rubbed his eyes and thought about home. He had been sent here far from Earth, far from the green forests and clear rivers he had once known. His duty was here now at the far edge of human reach. He had accepted it, but sometimes he wished for something to break the silence. That night, something did. The door to his room opened without warning. The lock had not been touched. The panel had not been pressed. It simply slid open with a soft hiss. Aaron stood quickly, his hand reaching for the rifle. His heart raced as he raised the weapon and aimed it at the doorway. A figure stepped inside. It was tall, slender, and dressed in flowing fabric that shimmered faintly even in the poor light. The figure's face was partly hidden by a hood, but the shape of the eyes was unlike any human he had seen. The air in the room seemed to change, as if the storms outside had followed her in spirit. Aaron felt a chill but kept his weapon steady. The hood fell back and he saw her clearly. Her skin was pale with a faint silver glow. Her eyes were large, bright, and strange, reflecting the light like crystal. Her hair was long and smooth, reaching down past her shoulders. She was not human. She was something else, something both beautiful and unsettling. Aaron's first thought was danger. The colony had been warned that aliens might appear one day. Humanity had reached far, and there were whispers of old enemies beyond the stars. He tightened his grip on his rifle. "Stay where you are," he said firmly. His voice was steady, though his chest was filled with tension. The figure raised her hands slowly, showing she held no weapon. Her voice was soft, carrying an accent unlike any human tongue but still understandable. "I mean no harm," she said. "I need shelter, please." Aaron hesitated. She looked like a stranger from another world, but she sounded tired, almost desperate. He watched her carefully, searching for tricks. "Who are you?" he asked. She stepped forward slightly, and the fabric of her gown shifted with the movement, glowing faintly like liquid starlight. Her eyes met his, steady and calm. "I am Lyra," she said. "Daughter of the High Court of the Syrian Empire." The word struck Aaron with shock. He had heard of the Syrians. Their empire was vast, powerful, and dangerous. Humanity's explorers had spoken of them, but most people in the colony believed such stories were distant and unreal. Now one of their ruler's heirs stood in his room. Aaron lowered the rifle slightly but did not let go of it. "What are you doing here?" he demanded. "Why come to me?" Lyra looked down as if searching for words. She walked a few steps into the room and then stopped, her gown brushing the floor softly. "I escaped," she said. "I could not stay among my own. They would use me as a weapon against your kind. I do not want war. I came here because I believe humans must know the truth." Aaron stared at her. His mind struggled to balance what she said. A princess of an alien empire standing in his small outpost room asking for shelter, warning of war. It sounded impossible. Yet her eyes did not look like those of a liar. They looked tired, filled with something deeper than fear. "You escaped from your own people," Aaron repeated slowly. "Yes," she said, "and now they will hunt me. Already I feel their presence in the stars. They will not forgive my choice. They will send soldiers to bring me back or to silence me forever." Aaron paced a step, his rifle still in hand. He thought about the colony. If she spoke the truth, danger would come not only for her but for all humans here. If she lied, then perhaps this was a trick to break their defenses. He did not know which to believe. "Why my room?" he asked firmly. Lyra looked at him directly, her crystal-like eyes shining with strange light. Because you were awake, she said simply. I saw the light under your door. The others slept. I needed someone who could hear me now, not later. Her answer was so simple that Aaron found himself silent. He thought about her words again and again. The storm outside grew louder. The wind shook the walls and thunder echoed across the land. The sound made the room feel smaller, as if they were trapped together by the fury of nature. Lyra stepped closer, and Aaron did not move away. She raised her hand slightly as if asking permission to sit. Aaron gave a short nod, and she sat on the edge of his bed, her gown folding around her like silver water. I know what you think, she said softly. You think I am here to trick you. You think I am an enemy. But I am here because I see what my people cannot. I see the strength in your kind. I see that if war begins, it will destroy both our peoples. I do not want that end. Aaron listened, his weapon still near. He wanted to doubt her, but her voice carried weight. She did not sound like someone creating a false tale. She sounded like someone who had left everything behind. He sat on the chair near his table and placed the rifle across his lap. If what you say is true, he said carefully, then you must tell me everything. I will not hide you blindly. I must know what danger you bring here. Lyra nodded slowly. I will tell you, she said, but you must also decide if you will help me. For if you do, you will carry a burden heavier than this storm. Her words hung in the air. Aaron felt the truth of them. He had wished for something to break the silence of the outpost, and now something had come, something far greater than he imagined. The storm roared outside, the winds like 1,000 voices. Inside the small room, human and alien faced each other, strangers bound by chance. The night that had begun in silence had become the night of an unexpected guest, and nothing in Aaron's life would remain the same. The night after Lyra entered Aaron's room felt longer than any other night in his life. The storm outside had raged until dawn, but even after the winds grew quiet, the weight of her words stayed heavy in his chest. Aaron had always thought of himself as only a soldier of the colony. He had sworn to guard the walls, watch the skies, and keep the people safe. But now a secret far greater than his small outpost had landed in his hands. He sat on the chair by the table while Lyra rested on the bed. She had not slept much. Her eyes often opened as if she expected danger to appear at any moment. Her silver gown shimmered softly in the dim light, and her strange, crystal-like eyes reflected the glow of the screen on the wall. When morning came, Aaron finally spoke again. You said your people will follow you, he said quietly. If they find you here, the colony will be in danger. If I tell my commander, he may treat you as a prisoner. If I hide you, I put us both at risk. Why should I trust you? Lyra sat up slowly, folding her hands on her lap. Her expression was calm, though there was sorrow in her eyes. Because I had a choice, she said. I could have stayed with them with the High Court and lived in comfort while war was prepared. But I could not. I saw what it would mean. I saw the lives that would be lost. Your people do not understand yet, but the Syrian factions are not united. Some want peace, some want conquest. The ones who want conquest are stronger. They will come for your worlds, and they will not stop. Aaron leaned forward, listening carefully. He did not fully trust her, but her voice carried truth. She spoke not as someone telling a story, but as someone who had lived it. You expect me to believe, Aaron said, that a princess of the Syrian Empire would abandon her people and risk her life just to warn us? Yes, Lyra answered softly. Because I am not only a princess. I'm also someone who sees too much silence when leaders speak of war. They see numbers, fleets, victories. I see children without homes. I see fire falling from the sky. I could not let it happen without trying to stop it. Her words struck Aaron deeply. He thought about the colony, the children who played in the narrow streets, the families who trusted soldiers like him to protect them. If she spoke the truth, then danger was closer than anyone knew. Still, a voice in his heart whispered caution. Aaron stood and walked toward the window. Beyond the glass, the sky was heavy with gray clouds, though the storm had passed. The land stretched far, endless rock and sand, broken only by the tall towers of the colony walls. The world looked peaceful now, but he knew peace could be broken in an instant. He turned back to her. If I help you, he said firmly, what must I do? Lyra stood as well, her gown brushing the floor like water. She stepped closer to him, her eyes never leaving his. You must take me to your leaders, she said. Not just the commander of this outpost. I must speak to the council that governs your colony. They must hear me, even if they doubt me. Only then can you prepare. Aaron thought about it carefully. The council was far from the outpost, deep inside the central towers of the colony. He could not simply walk in with an alien princess at his side. Guards would stop them. Questions would flood in. Fear might spread. You do not understand humans, Aaron said. If they see you, they will not listen first. They will see you as a threat. They may try to capture you. Lyra lowered her eyes. I know, but if I do nothing, the threat will come anyway. At least this way, there's a chance to change what is coming. The silence that followed was heavy. Aaron felt the weight of choice pressing on him. He had wanted something to break the dull routine of guarding empty skies. But now he wondered if he had wished for too much. At last, he placed his rifle against the wall and spoke with steady voice. Then I will help you, he said, but I will not do it blindly. I will watch you every moment. If you turn against us, I will not hesitate to act. Lyra looked at him, and for the first time since she entered his room, a faint smile touched her lips. That is fair, she said, and it is also why I chose you. A soldier who doubts is safer than a soldier who follows without thought. They agreed to leave the outpost together. Aaron packed a small bag with rations, water, and a map device. He carried his rifle across his shoulder and strapped a small pistol to his side. Lyra carried nothing but her gown and a small crystal pendant around her neck. Aaron noticed it but did not ask about it. He would ask later when trust was stronger. When the sun rose higher, they slipped out of the outpost quietly. The guards at the gate did not question Aaron, for he often took patrol walks. They did not see Lyra, hidden under a cloak Aran had given her. The land outside the walls was harsh and wide. Dust rose with every step and the air tasted dry. Aaron walked with steady pace, always scanning the horizon. Lyra followed silently, her movements graceful even in the heavy cloak. Hours passed as they crossed the rocky plain. Aaron spoke little, but his mind was filled with questions. He wanted to ask about her empire, about why she had really left, about why she trusted him. But the silence between them was not empty. It was filled with unspoken thoughts, and somehow he felt they both needed that silence. At last, when they rested under a rocky overhang, Aaron finally asked one question. Why me? He said. Why come to my room of all places? There were others awake in the outpost. You could have chosen anyone. Lyra drank a little water from the flask he offered her, then looked at him with calm eyes. Because I felt no fear in you, she said. You raised your weapon, yes, but your eyes did not carry hatred. Many of your kind would have shot me before I spoke. You did not. Aaron looked away, unsure how to respond. He had not thought of it that way. He had simply done what felt natural. They continued their journey. The colony's central towers grew closer each day. Tall and silver, they shone in the distance like spears rising from the land. Aaron knew that reaching them would not be the hardest part. The hardest part would be convincing the council to listen. On the third night, as they camped by the remains of an old survey station, Aaron heard a faint sound in the sky. He looked up and saw shadows moving across the stars. At first he thought they were clouds, but then he realized they were not. Ships. He pressed his ear to the ground and felt a deep vibration. Lyra stood quickly, her face pale. They are searching, she whispered. They know I am gone. Aaron gripped his rifle tightly. His heart pounded, but his mind was clear. The hidden alliance he had formed with Lyra was no longer a secret journey. It was a race against time. The Syrian ships were already here, and the hunters were close.
The journey to the central towers of the colony was long and intense. Aaron and Lyra traveled mostly on foot, resting only when the sun sank low and the air grew cooler. They kept to rocky paths and shallow valleys, avoiding open ground where the Syrian ships might spot them. Aaron had grown used to hardship, but he noticed how Lyra never complained. She walked with steady pace, her gown hidden beneath the cloak he had given her, and her eyes never wavered from the horizon. On the fourth night, they reached the outer edges of the colony city. Tall metal walls stretched before them, lit by rows of beacons. Beyond the gates, the towers rose high, their silver frames glowing under moonlight. The sight was familiar to Aaron, yet in this moment it felt different. He was no longer a soldier returning from patrol. He was carrying a secret that could change the fate of his people. They stayed in an abandoned storage shelter near the gates, hidden from patrols. The place was dusty, with old crates stacked against the walls and broken screens lying in corners. It was here, in this silent shelter, that the truth began to show. Aaron sat against the wall, polishing his rifle while keeping his eyes on the entrance. Lyra moved quietly around the room, her cloak slipping off her shoulders as she settled near him. She seemed restless, her hands brushing against the crystal pendant she always wore. "You are uneasy," Aaron said without looking up. She paused, then gave a faint nod. "We are close now. Once we step inside, everything will change." Aaron studied her carefully. "You wanted this," he reminded her. "You said the council must hear you." "I did," Lyra answered softly. "And I still do." Yet something in her tone felt uncertain. Aaron set his rifle aside and leaned forward. "You are hiding something," he said firmly. "If I am to risk my life for you, I must know the truth." Lyra lifted her gaze to him. Her crystal-like eyes shone with a strange light, almost too bright in the dark room. She opened her mouth to speak, then stopped. For a moment, the silence stretched between them like a heavy wall. Finally, she stood and reached for the clasp at her shoulder. With a slow motion, she removed the cloak and let it fall. The silver gown beneath shimmered in the dim light, flowing around her like liquid starlight. Aaron's breath caught, not because of beauty, but because of what he saw next. As the gown shifted, he saw a mark burned into the skin of her upper arm. It glowed faintly, a circle with sharp lines spreading outward like a star. He had seen similar signs before, etched onto broken panels left behind after battles. It was the crest of the Syrian conquest faction. His heart pounded. He rose to his feet at once, his hand instinctively reaching for his rifle. "What is that?" he demanded. Lyra looked at the mark with unreadable expression. She touched it lightly with her fingers, as if it pained her. "It is a seal of loyalty," she said. "A mark burned into me when I was still bound to them." Aaron's voice grew sharp. "You said you escaped. You said you wanted peace. But that mark is why I cannot escape fully," she interrupted, her voice trembling. "Even here, far from them, I carry their command. They do not need chains or prisons when they have this. It binds me to them, to their will. I try to fight it, but the seal cannot be removed." Aaron's eyes narrowed. He stepped closer, rifle in hand. "So all this time, you were carrying their mark. Were you their spy?" Her face showed pain, but also pride. "I wanted to break from them. I wanted to warn you. That part was true. But the seal means I was never fully free. They can still call me back, still use me. My gown, my cloak, even my words, none of it can hide the truth. I am still theirs in body, if not in heart." The room felt colder. Aaron lowered his weapon slightly, but did not let go. His chest was heavy with anger and confusion. He thought of the nights they had walked together, the trust that had begun to form, the hope that perhaps she truly wanted peace. Now he saw the sign of betrayal carved into her very flesh. "You should have told me," he said, his voice low. "I feared you would kill me before I could speak," Lyra whispered. Her eyes glistened as if she fought back tears, though no tears fell. "I feared you would not believe that I am more than this mark." Aaron turned away, pacing the room. The storm of thought in his head was worse than any storm outside. She had brought him into danger. She had walked at his side, while still bound to the faction that wanted to crush his people. Yet part of him remembered her words, her steady steps, her soft voice when she spoke of children and fire. Could a traitor speak with such sorrow? He faced her again, his eyes sharp. "If they can control you through the seal, then you are a danger to us all. At any moment, they could command you to betray me, betray the colony. Why should I let you live?" For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, slowly, she reached for the clasp of her gown. With a quiet motion, she let the fabric slip down, revealing more of the mark. It spread across her side, carved deep into her skin like fire frozen in shape. She stood tall, unashamed. "Because I chose to show you," she said. "If I wished only to serve them, I would have kept it hidden. Instead, I stand before you as I am, broken by their chains, yet still trying to fight. If you kill me now, you will end one voice of resistance among them. If you let me live, I may yet help you break their hold." Aaron's hands trembled on the rifle. He wanted to believe her. But the mark glowed like fire in the dark room. reminding him of fleets and battles, of death that had not yet come but soon would. At last, he lowered the rifle and leaned it against the wall. He spoke with heavy voice. "I do not trust you," he said, "but I will not kill you here. If you are truly willing to resist them, then prove it. Tomorrow we go before the council. You will tell them the truth, and they will decide." Lyra bowed her head. Her gown gathered around her feet. "I will tell them," she said. The night stretched long in silence. Aaron sat with his back to the wall, his rifle within reach. Lyra rested on the bed again, though her eyes stayed open, the glow of the mark casting faint light across the room. Aaron did not sleep. He watched her through the hours, his mind torn between anger and pity. He wondered if her betrayal had already doomed them, or if her confession was the first step toward redemption. He did not know. He only knew that the next day would test them both. Outside, the city was quiet, but in the skies above, Syrian ships drifted like shadows, waiting for the moment to strike. Morning came slowly, the pale light of dawn slipping through the broken windows of the shelter. Aaron had not slept at all. His eyes were tired, yet his body remained tense, every muscle ready for sudden action. Across the room, Lyra sat quietly on the bed, her silver gown draped around her like a pool of light. The faint glow of the mark on her skin still burned in his mind. He thought of the promise he had made. He would take her to the council, and there the truth would be revealed. He had no choice now. The secret was too heavy to carry alone. "Get ready," he said as he rose. "We leave as soon as the gates open." Lyra stood without protest. She tied her cloak around her shoulders, hiding the glowing seal. Her eyes met his for a moment, and there was something unreadable in her gaze, a mix of sorrow and quiet strength. Aaron looked away. He did not want to see sympathy or regret in the eyes of someone who carried the enemy's mark. The colony gates opened with a rising sun. Merchants, workers, and soldiers moved in and out, carrying goods, tools, and equipment. Aaron walked steadily through the crowd, keeping his head low. Lyra followed close behind, her cloak pulled tight around her. No one seemed to notice her, but Aaron's hand never left the pistol at his side. He was ready for the moment when someone might see through the disguise. Inside the walls, the colony city stretched high and wide. Towers of steel and glass rose above narrow streets, filled with noise. Vendors called out their wares. Children ran through the alleys, and patrol soldiers moved in groups with steady steps. To any outsider, it looked like a city full of life. But Aaron knew that beneath the surface, fear always lived. The colony was far from Earth, and every person knew danger might arrive without warning. They reached the base of the central towers. Guards in dark armor blocked the entrance. Their eyes moved quickly over the crowd, and when they saw Aaron approach, they stiffened. He was known to them as a soldier of the outpost. "What is your business here?" one guard asked. Aaron spoke with steady tone. "I must speak to the council. It is urgent." The guards exchanged doubtful looks. "The council does not meet with soldiers without command orders," the second guard said. Aaron took a slow breath. He could not reveal Lyra here, not in front of the open gates. "This is greater than command," he said. "Lives are at risk. If you deny me, you will regret it when the truth comes." The guards frowned, but one of them finally stepped aside. "Wait here," he said. "I will send word." They were led into a waiting chamber. The room was plain, with metal walls and a long bench. Aaron sat with his back straight, his rifle across his lap. Lyra sat beside him, silent under a cloak. Minutes turned into an hour. At last, a group of armed soldiers entered. Their weapons were already drawn. Aaron stood at once, his hand on his rifle, but before he could react, one of them raised a hand. "You are under arrest," the officer said coldly. "You will come with us now." Aaron's chest tightened. "On what charge?" The officer's eyes narrowed. "Harboring an alien, bringing a hostile into the colony. Do not resist." Aaron turned his gaze toward Lyra. She lowered her hood, revealing her face to the soldiers. Gasps spread through the chamber. Her glowing eyes and silver hair left no doubt. She was not human. "You see," Aaron said quickly, "this is why I asked for the council. She is not here to harm us. She came to warn us." But the officer did not listen. He raised his weapon. Silence. Both of you will come. Aaron's rifle was heavy in his hands. For a moment, he thought about raising it, about fighting his way through. But there were too many soldiers, and the chamber was too small. If he fought, they would both die before they could speak. Slowly, he lowered his weapon. Very well, he said. They were bound and led through the halls of the central tower. Citizens stared as they passed, whispering and pointing. Aaron kept his head high, though inside he burned with anger. Lyra walked calmly, though her glowing eyes seemed to dim with sorrow. They were thrown into a holding chamber deep below the tower. The walls were thick steel, and a single light flickered above. Aaron paced the floor, his chains clinking with every step. This was your plan all along, he said bitterly to Lyra. To bring me here, to let them arrest us. She shook her head. No, this is not what I wanted, but I knew it was possible. Your people fear what they do not know. I expected they might see me as an enemy before they listened. Aaron turned sharply to her. And are they wrong? That mark on your skin says you are theirs. How long before they use it to make you betray us? For the first time since he met her, her voice broke. I do not know, she whispered. Perhaps tomorrow, perhaps never. But I swear to you, I will fight it as long as I can. Aaron wanted to shout, to curse, to release the storm inside him. But before he could speak again, the ground shook. Dust fell from the ceiling, and the walls groaned with sudden force. Alarms blared across the tower. Red lights flashed in the chamber. The door burst open, and a guard shouted, Enemy ships! They are in orbit! All soldiers to battle positions. Aaron's heart froze. The Syrians had come. The guard raised his weapon at them. Stay here. Do not move. He locked the chamber door behind him and ran. Aaron pressed his ear to the wall. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed through the halls. Shouts filled the air, mixed with the roar of distant explosions. The enemy was striking already. Lyra stood in the center of the room, her hands clenched tightly. The glow of the mark on her skin grew brighter, pulsing with strange light. She gasped, clutching her arm. They are calling me, she said through clenched teeth. The seal is burning. They know I am here. Aaron rushed to her side. Fight it, he said fiercely. Do not let them take you. Her body shook, but she met his eyes. I will try, but if I fail, you must end me. You must not let them use me against you. The weight of her words pressed into his chest. He looked at her trembling form, at the mark glowing like fire across her skin. She was both enemy and ally, both betrayer and victim. He did not know if he could do what she asked. Before he could answer, another explosion shook the walls. The light flickered, then went out, leaving them in near darkness. From above came the sound of crashing steel. The Syrians were no longer only in the sky. They were inside the colony. Aaron clenched his fists. His weapon had been taken, his freedom stolen, and the council had ignored him. Yet even in chains, his spirit did not bend. He looked at Lyra, who still fought against the mark that burned her skin. If we get out of here, he said, you will prove to me that you are more than their seal. You will prove to me that you stand with us. Lyra nodded weakly. I will, or I will die trying. The sound of heavy boots approached again. Aaron prepared himself. He did not know if it would be guards, council soldiers, or Syrian warriors that opened the door next. But whoever it was, he would be ready. In the dark chamber beneath the central tower, with the city above under attack, Aaron understood one truth. Humanity was no longer safe behind its walls. The enemy had come, and the price of truth was now to be paid in full. The chamber shook again as fire thundered through the city above. The floor trembled beneath Aaron's boots, and dust rained down from the ceiling. The colony was under full attack now. He could hear the distant roar of engines, the shouts of soldiers, and the screams of civilians. The Syrians had arrived, and their strike was merciless. Aaron pulled hard against his chains, his wrists burning as metal scraped skin. He refused to sit still while his people were slaughtered. Across from him, Lyra pressed her hands against the glowing mark on her arm. The light pulsed stronger, as if answering the call of ships above. She gritted her teeth, fighting against it. They are close, she whispered. Their minds are pushing into mine. They want me to obey, to lead them here. Aaron's jaw tightened. You will resist. Do you hear me? You are here, not with them. You are in this room with me. Her eyes met his, glowing faintly even in the dark. I will try, Aaron. But if I fail, you must stop me. You must. Before he could answer, the heavy door creaked. Metal screeched, and then it burst open. A group of colony soldiers rushed in. Their armor was dented, their faces smeared with sweat and ash. On your feet, the lead soldier barked. He cut Aaron's chains with sharp tool. Then he turned to Lyra, his weapon aimed directly at her. And what about this one? Aaron stepped forward quickly, shielding her with his body. She is not the enemy, he said firmly. She warned us this would happen. If you want the truth, take us to the council chamber. Now! The soldier hesitated. Another explosion rocked the tower, and alarm screamed louder. Fine, he muttered. Move. Both of you. But if she tries anything, I will put her down myself. They rushed through the halls. The once proud central tower was chaos. Smoke filled the air, lights flickered, and civilians cried as they were led to shelters. The sound of Syrian weapons thundered in the distance. Aaron's heart clenched at the sight of his people running in fear. He clenched his fists tighter, swearing silently that he would not let them fall. At last, they entered the great council chamber. The room was vast, with high ceilings and a round table at its center. Council members sat in fear, their voices rising in argument as reports of the invasion poured in. Some demanded retreat. Others called for surrender. Few spoke of fighting back. When Aaron and Lyra entered, silence spread. All eyes turned to them. Murmurs filled the air. One council member stood. His robe was fine, his face stern. What is the meaning of this? Why have you brought an alien into our chamber during attack? Aaron stepped forward boldly. Because she is the reason you are still alive to argue. She warned me of this invasion. She risked her life to come here. You refused to listen, and now the enemy is at our gates. The council erupted in shouts. Some accused Lyra of being the cause of the invasion. Others demanded her execution on the spot. Lyra lowered her hood, revealing her silver hair and crystal-like eyes. The glow of the seal burned faintly through her cloak. She raised her voice, calm but firm. I am Lyra, daughter of the Syrian High Court. Yes, I carry the mark of conquest upon my skin. Yes, my people have come for you. But I chose to leave them. I chose to fight their will. Even knowing they will hunt me, you do not have to trust me. But you must believe this. They will not stop. They will burn your world until nothing remains, unless you rise to resist. The chamber fell quiet again. Her words carried weight. And even in their fear, the council members could not deny the truth of the invasion outside. Aaron stepped beside her. You have doubted me before, he said to the council. You have ignored the warnings. But now the enemy is here, and you cannot hide in fear. Humanity has always survived because we refuse to bow. If you will not lead, then the soldiers will. We will fight. The council looked at one another. Some still trembled, but others nodded slowly. At last, the head of the council spoke. His voice was heavy, but there was a spark of resolve. Very well. Humanity will not surrender. We will answer. Orders were given. Sirens blared as soldiers rallied. Civilians were sent deeper into shelters, and the towers came alive with defense systems. Massive cannons rose from hidden ports, their barrels glowing as they charged. Fighters launched from hangars, engines roaring into the night sky. For the first time, the colony struck back. Aaron was given his rifle once more. He stood with his fellow soldiers at the gates of the city, ready for the battle ahead. Lyra stood beside him, her cloak drawn tight, her mark still glowing. She looked at the sky with pain, but also with determination. The Syrian ships descended through the clouds. Sleek and black, they moved like predators, firing beams of light that cut through towers and streets. Explosions tore through the colony, shaking the ground. But the humans answered with their own fire. Cannons roared, missiles streaked upward, and fighters swarmed against the invaders. The battle for the colony had begun. Aaron fought with steady aim, his rifle striking down Syrian soldiers that landed on the ground. Their armor was strong, but human fire tore through it with enough force. Around him, his comrades fought with courage. They were outnumbered, but their spirit did not break. In the chaos, Lyra moved among them. She raised her hands, and strange waves of light pulsed from her palms. Some Syrian weapons flickered and died under her power. Erin realized she was using her connection to resist the seal, turn the bond into a weapon against her own people. But the effort drained her. He saw her stumble, her face pale, the mark on her skin burning brighter. "Stay with me," Erin shouted, pulling her to her feet. "I am with you," she gasped, "as long as I can stand." Hours of battle raged. Fires consumed buildings, and the air grew thick with smoke. Yet slowly, the tide began to turn. Humanity's defenses, fueled by desperation and will, pushed back the invaders. One by one, Syrian ships fell from the sky in flames. At last, the largest ship above the colony cracked under fire. It erupted in a blaze, pieces falling like burning stars. The remaining ships pulled back, retreating into the night sky. The battlefield grew silent, broken only by the cries of the wounded and the crackle of flames. Humanity had held. Erin stood at the gates, his rifle heavy in his hands. His uniform was torn, his face smeared with ash, but his eyes burned with pride. Around him, soldiers cheered weakly. They had survived the first storm. Beside him, Lyra collapsed to her knees. Erin caught her before she fell. Her eyes were dim, and the glow of the seal had faded to a faint ember. "You fought them," Erin said softly. "You resisted." She looked at him with tired eyes. "I betrayed you once, Erin, by hiding the truth. But tonight, I stood with you. Humanity will not fight alone." He held her steady, his heart heavy with both anger and respect. She was both enemy and ally, but in this moment, she had chosen to fight for his people. The council declared victory that night, though everyone knew the war was only beginning. The Syrians would return, stronger than before, but the colony had proved something important. Humanity would not break. Humanity would not bow. In the weeks that followed, fleets were built, soldiers were trained, and alliances were forged. Humanity had awakened to the truth of the stars. Erin stood among them, ready for the battles ahead. And though trust between him and Lyra was fragile, it was not gone. She carried her mark still, but she also carried her choice. Together, they would face what was coming. When the Syrians returned, they would not find a people ready to surrender. They would find a people ready to fight. Humanity's answer had been given, and it was clear. The stars would remember.